Happy Monday, everyone. It is Monday, September 27th, 2021. I am Solid Blue Sister, and this is My Turn to Talk. Hello, Crucible Man. Okay, so let's get started. So today we're going to talk about the Karens of the world and why do they exist? So, why do Karens have the need, Karens or Kens, have the need to call the police on people who are usually minding their own business? These calls are getting more and more frequent, but now the accused are taking a stand. Will it make the Karens or Kens of the world stop? Welcome, OJ28. How are you? And I would also like to point out that whenever a Karen makes a false report, not only are they becoming more and more frequent, they're also dangerous. And sometimes it can result in either someone getting unjustly arrested or even killed. So, what I've been finding out, and you see these videos, and it's happening more and more. There are literally, hundreds of videos now because everyone has a cell phone. Everyone's taking out their cell phone, where people are fighting back. You want to feel entitled. You want to call me a name. People are literally getting beat up. And as Roland Martin, says, one day you're going to roll up on the wrong sister or on the wrong brother, and they're going to beat the shit out of you. And that's literally what is happening. So, why did Karens start popping up more? Karens have always been around. We've had our Miss Anns, we've had our Beckys, and now we have our Karens. And I remember growing up, my mom, would say, "Don't act like a Miss Ann." And, my sister and I knew exactly what she was talking about. But Karens and Kens have a sense of entitlement. And what I'm also noticing that, when people are posting these videos, of course, you never get the video from the very beginning. But I'm seeing the women, the Karens, are starting to slap people, and the Kens are starting to spit. And they're, and a lot of times now people are not just, walking away, they're taking action. So I would like to open it up, and I just want to know, why do you think, this is, going on? You have the Karen from Home Depot who bought flooring, and she didn't want Black men installing her floor, and the salesperson is trying to arrange the order, and he's, telling her that he can't, direct who comes to her home and installs her floor, and she has to speak to a manager. Well, the manager's name was Dwayne, and he was a Black man. So of course the woman, she ended up leaving the store. But I mean, just these crazy things. I'm like, really? Back in the day, we were okay to clean your house, and Black women, were nursing, your babies from our breasts. But now, you don't want to, touch you. Don't do this. Don't do that. Okay. So we're only good for one thing, but the sense of entitlement. So again, I would like to open it up. Does anyone want to make a comment? If not, I will keep going. Let's see. OJ or Crucible Man? All right, I'm pretty sure you guys. Okay, there's Crucible Man. Hold on. And you should have the mic.
Hello, Salad Blue Sister. Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. There is definitely a deep sense of entitlement with these people, but you're also correct in that they've always been around in some form or another. And I think it taps into one of the most basest of human impulses, and that is to have power and control over another human being for whatever reason. And I do think it's no secret the internet and the rise of cell phones have certainly exacerbated it. And I think that has emboldened people when you're holding this device in your hand that you believe in your warped, twisted world is going to vindicate you for what you're about to accuse this person of. 20 years ago, you had Karens and Kens, but they couldn't offer tangible proof as to what they were saying was actually true and actually happened. So people would have to take their word for it. So that gave them less power. And because they are so twisted in their minds in terms of their own power and their own sense of self, I think they feel like this cell phone is going to vindicate them. And so I think that encourages people to act out and behave more poorly. But the technology is just, like I said, it's just emboldening them. We've had Karens and Kens around forever, but I think it does tap into the impulse to want to control and have power over another human being.
Well, I don't. I would have to disagree with you in the sense where the cell phone is empowering the Karen. I think the cell phone is giving credence to the person who is on the other end of their rant. Because before 20 years ago, I mean, and even now, whenever someone said that this happened, it was like, oh no, that didn't happen. Um, there had to have been more to it. And just like I made the comment last week about Rodney King, had Rodney King not been taped, no one would have believed him. So even now with Karen's, if it's not being taped, then people would not believe them. So I think the power in the cell phone actually helps the person who is on the other end of that rant.
I agree with that. I agree with that. I'm just saying that in the twisted, warped mind of the Karen, they see it as their vindication, when ironically it actually becomes their victims or their purported victims' vindication. So, at that point, I do agree with you.
All right. So OJ wants to say something, but I do want you to think about this. What do you think of these people who are now literally fighting back physically when a Karen, calls someone? I'm not going to use the term the N word. I don't like using that term, the N word. I prefer to come out and say the word nigger, because that's what they're calling them. I'm gonna call it out like it is. I'm not going to say, because they did not say you N word. They said the name. So I'm not going to do that. But that's a question that I do want to ask and throw out there after OJ says something. So OJ, what would you like to say? If not, I'll let Terry. Okay, here he is. OJ, you have the mic.
Okay. Hi.
Hello.
I like to take a step aside from your point regarding the using of the word nigger or discriminating against the skin color, which is happening in the US in a big way. I'm looking at it from my perspective as an Indian. In India, we have something which is known as the caste system,
Yes.
and
Yes.
like you have the upper caste and you have and then the lower caste. The upper caste people are usually fair in complexion, whereas the downcast or the outcast people are comparatively darker in complexion. Now that is the basic thing. And okay, coming to the second point is that the upper caste people are the ones who are usually uh, educated, and they are the priests and all the religious chantings and the stuff can be done by them only. Nobody
So,
else
so
has
do you?
the has.
So do
I'm
you
sorry.
have Karens in India? Are there Karens and Kens in India who feel that they're entitled? Would they be the lighter skinned people, the lighter skinned
Yeah,
Indian?
yeah, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. And this is what is happening. I'm not sorry. I'm not aware of the of this Karen and the stuff which you just mentioned, but in our country this has been going on for ages now. Till date, this thing is happening. A person, a municipal, this worker, worker who's who's supposed cleans the streets with a broom. That guy will not be allowed inside anyone's house. And the reason is that guy, that fellow is a Harijan. Harijan is the lowest caste of people in the society. They cannot enter anybody's house. So this is happening and we have been and unfortunately I've been brought up, I mean I grew up in this era of our society. It's very sad. Okay, and the other thing is you look at the job scenario. In the job scenario, the top 5 or 6 levels of any job, in any corporation or a huge company or corporate houses, they all kind of hiring people from the upper caste. I mean, they officially, they don't, they do not mention it, but unofficially it is there. Suppose a handyman is required in the office, or a security guard is required from the office. That handyman, or the office security guy, he can be somebody from the lower caste. And
All
this
right.
is and this is what I'm telling you is the basic fact. I do not know who will tell you all what, but this is the fact, the right actual thing which is happening right now in our country, unfortunately.
All right. So thank you very much, OJ. Crucible Man, do you want to comment on what OJ just said? You have credit.
Yeah, I think that's just more an extreme version of what we have here in the United States. Obviously, we have laws now that don't allow people to keep certain people out of your home, even though that woman from Home Depot tried to do that. We don't have anything quite that bad here in this country, but I think it goes back to, again, these are deeply unhappy people who have problems in their own lives, and they feel there is only way they can try to even the playing field or somehow exact some kind of cosmic revenge on the universe is to call out other people for insignificant transgressions or no transgressions at all, because it gives them a better sense of their self-worth. And again, it's twisted and it's warped, but it's what people use to validate themselves. It makes no sense to me, and it makes no sense to most people. But I do think that the age of technology has given people a bolder sense of what they can and can't say to people. As far as for the reason I gave a little bit earlier, but you're right. These people think they're the ones who are going to be vindicated by having this video proof, when in fact it turns out to be usually the other way around.
Okay. So I want to throw that other question at you, but first I just want to say I don't think OJ meant that keeping people out of their house like it was a law. I'm assuming OJ meant that that individuals just didn't want certain people in their home. I think that's what he meant. Am I
Okay.
correct? So OJ, I'm assuming I'm correct on that, but I could be wrong. But okay, Crucible Man, I'll throw this one back at you. Um, what do you think about, you're seeing these videos now where people are literally getting beat downs for, being insulted? Or, even physically assaulted, either verbally or physically assaulted, and people are now turning and they're, excuse my term, but beating ass. They're getting their ass beat. So what do you think about that?
The people who are the Karens are getting their ass beat.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
I think it's reached a saturation point and a point at which people feel like they have no choice but to fight back, and I agree with them. Unfortunately, I think all it does is further enrage what is a very, very insecure group of people in the Karens and in the Kens. I think that's what drives most of this behavior. It's insecurity on the part of the people who are dishing this out. And I think the last thing in the world they ever expected for somebody to fight back. Bullies count on the fact that somebody is not going to fight back. That's what gives them their power. So I think when people do start to fight back, it really not only undercuts their position, but I think that they feel intimidated because they're not ready to fight. Bullies don't like to fight. Bullies like to dish it out. When it starts to come back in the other direction, they generally turn tail, in my experience.
Well, this is exactly what I'm saying. Now you're seeing. I don't know if you saw the video of the white guy in 7-Eleven who kept saying nigger, 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 and then he said, "If you want to hit me, go ahead and hit me." And the guy, literally broke a can of iced tea or whatever it is, on his face, and proceeded to give him a beat down. And then you have people, in that same video, you had, another white guy standing around going, okay, now he's down, stop, stop, stop. Well, no, you were standing there while this guy was going on his rant, calling this man out of his name. Now all of a sudden, when the guy starts wailing on him, you are supposed to stop. And I think that if more people start doing this, just like the black woman on the airplane, this woman was getting, she was throwing the word nigger around like it was nothing, to the flight attendant. But all of a sudden, she starts getting her behind whooped, by a black woman. All of a sudden, it's a different story. So I don't think that these people expect, they don't expect people to fight back, like, black people are like, oh, we will forgive you, or we're these docile people, we know our place. And it's not just black people. There are Karens who also do things to other white people, whatever. But these just entitled people, if people just start fighting back, maybe that will get them to stop. And you have the woman who now was charged, and I think she's going to spend 2 years in jail under the Karen Act for calling in a false report. So, OJ, you wanted to say something, and hello, Juju.
Yeah. I would like to I would like to this comment to say that getting beaten up, being a black in the states is is just like is just like getting beaten up in India, because your appearance is like a Muslim, and you have a beard on your face for a male person. And recently, in the sense, at least I think a couple of months back, one elderly man, a poor elderly man, with white hair, white beard, that guy was thrashed with hockey sticks, field hockey sticks. And he was pulled by his beard, and he was forced to chant chant the Hindu praise of God, like Jai Shri Ram. and for a Muslim to say something praising a Hindu god, is not done. And this thing has been was recorded by somebody by somebody on his mobile phone, and that is how this incident had gone viral. Now, okay, this is one aspect of it. The other aspect of it was the cops had kind of tracked down the guy who had actually taken this thing, this entire incident on his mobile phone, this camera, as a video. That guy, the cops had traced him, and that guy was given a beating of his lifetime. And then his phone was smashed into pieces, and so that next time this guy, he cannot do something like this.
Okay.
This is one part of it. This is about, I'm telling you, about 3-4 months back. Just 3 days back, the same thing had happened in one of the states in the northeast. In India, there was this huge furrow over the citizenship right amongst the people.
Uh-huh.
And the only reason for this was to remove the Muslims from India. And see the
Okay,
geopolitical
but does that okay, I just want to kind of just stay on track for a moment. So removing the Muslims, is that being like a Karen, someone who feels that they're entitled?
I'm okay. I'm sorry. I do not know about Karen incidents. So I'm just trying to assume what from the conversation, that somebody was being beaten, and another guy was taking
Okay,
a video.
okay,
I'm not aware of that incident. So I'm just trying to guess, and trying to trying to see what is happening in India with,
okay,
on my guesswork.
okay. All right. So Muslims are getting beaten in India.
Yep, true.
All right, but I'm going to assume that's because other people feel that they're entitled. Correct?
Yeah. The Hindus feel, like you all have it, like black and white. In India, it is the Hindus versus the others, like be it the Christians, be it the Muslims. Muslims are the first. Muslims, Christians, then Sikhs, Buddhists, and then the Jains. So these are the five minority uh, mm, religious people which are there in India. And the majority, of course, are the Hindus. So the Hindus, they want to remove the Muslims from out of India, and after the Muslims would be the turn of the Christians.
Okay. All right. All right. Okay. So now we have people who are, being, for lack of a better word, subjected to discrimination, um, because of who they are, in terms of their religious practices and what have you. But it's still a sense of entitlement. So, welcome, Cox Crept, Cox Creeped. I'm sorry, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, but welcome. Um, so we have people who are like that, but we still have that sense of entitlement, um, And I would still like to know, do you think that now you're seeing these videos where people are fighting or physically fighting back against Kens and Karens? What do you think about that? Anybody want to add to the chat, or you're welcome? Does anyone want to add to the chat on that? Because we are, seeing that more and more. And what is going to, like I said, Karens have been around for centuries. They're just more prevalent now because of cell phones or what have you. And even from what OJ has said, the discrimination against Muslims, in India and what have you, you're probably hearing about that more because people have cell phones and people are, taking out cell phones and what have you. So do you think that by people literally physically going after these people that they'll stop? I mean, calling people because you're, walking your dog, or a little girl is selling water, or a little boy is cutting grass, or someone sitting next to you on a plane. I mean, it's just getting more and more ridiculous. And it just doesn't make any sense. So, I like to know, do you think that by people getting physically injured and hurt, that maybe they will stop? Because they know that if, put like this, they know there's a possibility that if they, start going after the wrong person, that person's going to turn around and start wailing on them. So does anyone want to type in the chat or come on and tell me what you think, or, what do you think? Anybody? Here it'll not stop. This is what OJ says. Here it'll not stop. Unfortunately, the majority of people beat up with the cops right behind them. So you're saying that the policemen are also beating up on these people? Providing security. Providing security of the people who instigated the incident. Is that what you're talking about, OJ? Yes. Okay, and and that's another problem. Now, OJ is in India, and we have that situation here, where not all the time, but we do have the situation here where, the police officers side with the people who are instigating the incident. We have the case of the person who called the police on, and now I'm getting off topic, but we have the incident of the person who called the police on a homeless man who was, brandishing a knife or some type of axe against these, three, young African American teenagers, and at a bus stop. And the police show up, and they're putting the teenagers in handcuffs. And yet this homeless man is holding a weapon, and the person who called the police was like, no, it's not them, it's him. But yet they wouldn't let these three teenagers go for a good 30 minutes. So what do you do? What do you do? What will teach these people a lesson? And I think that for the most part, lessons need to be taught. I think that just like when your kid gets bullied in school, and you go to the principal, you go to the teacher, you go to the parents, and no one's doing anything. And the only way it stops a lot of times is when you pull that kid, the bully, over to the side and almost threaten them about touching your kid again. Then miraculously it stops. And that's what Kens and Karens are. They are bullies. And let me be clear on one thing. Kens and Karens are not always white. we have your black Kens and Karens, we have your Latino Kens and Karens, and we have your Asian Kens and Karens. We had an Asian woman in New York who got upset with the man was trying to lead his dog out into traffic. you know, so and you're right. A lot of things don't make sense these days, and and it's sad that we're at a point where we even have to say that a lot of things don't make sense these days, and we have just been at this point for several years now, and and it's ridiculous, not just in America but across the globe. Things just don't make sense that should, you know so does anyone want to comment? I cannot pronounce your name, so I'm just going to say Cox. Can I just say Cox because I can't pronounce the last part? Yes, OJ, you have the mic. Gary. Okay, Gary. Thank you. All right. Does anyone want to comment on what Gary put in the chat? Oh, OJ, you have the mic.
Yeah, as I was about to say, but this incident that took place about this 3 days back in India, in one of the northeastern states, the cops had gone to a small little hamlet, and which was predominantly filled with Bengali speaking Muslims in that state. And the Hindus here, they think that the Hindus the Muslims from Bangladesh have come into India, and those guys have kind of occupied our land, and they're staying. So this is the backdrop of the conversation which I'm going to have now. Okay, so when the cops had gone with the guns, machine guns, to empty out the village, the men folk, they came out with sticks. Okay, on one hand you have guns, the other hand you have sticks. So when these guys when they were coming out of the village, the cops, they started shooting them. And in point blank range, they kind of shot. A lot of people were injured, and one guy was the one guy he got killed. He got shot right in his heart, and he fell on the ground. Okay. So as soon as this guy fell on the ground, there was one press guy who had gone to cover this entire incident. That guy, he's an inhuman guy. He jumped on the dead body of that man, and the cops were standing right there next to him, next to the dead body. This cops was standing, and this press photographer, he jumped, I think, 2 or 3 times right on his chest.
That's that's
The
that
reason
that's disgusting.
it is, and it is all over on a Twitter. But then in the Indian press media, press, or if not electronic, or a visual media, there is no coverage of this.
That's disgusting. This I'm sorry, I just can't get the visual of jumping on a deceased person out of my head. Does anyone want to comment? will that get people to stop? And again, I want to just say again that Karens are not just Karens and Karens are not just white people. Um, it is also uh, uh, people. Let's see, hold on. Are people able to hear me and understand me? Am I coming in clear to everyone? Okay. Judy says the sound is muffled. Huh. All right. Not sure why. Hold on one second. Can people hear me better now? Am I coming in clear? Okay. Slightly better. Is this better? Okay. Not sure what happened there. Okay. The only thing that I can suggest you guys do is go out and come back in. Okay. Shy lady, are you able to hear me? Okay, so I'm going to keep going because I'm not seeing where there's an issue on my part. Okay, so you're able to hear now, Juju? Okay, so you're saying that is excellent. Okay. Yes. Okay. All right. Um shy lady. So let me ask you, do you want to comment on whether, I mean, what do you think about people who um you know start fighting back? And OJ, can you hear me okay now? Good. Okay, good. All right. So shy lady, you have the mic.
Well, I had a couple of thoughts about that. People fighting back. You can stand up for yourself without getting to a physical altercation with a person. And I think just like the gentleman who was in the park, Central Park in New York, and the woman was with her dog, and she started displaying passive aggressive behavior as though he was the one that was harassing her when he just simply asked her to get her dog. And then she started just going off and acting the reverse, like she was the one, she was playing the victim. And I think he did a great job. He didn't, from what I heard on the video, he never raised his voice to her. He never touched her. I don't even think he came real close proximity to her, but he was able to tell her about herself and to call the police. Or I'm not sure if he called the police, but I know he posted it. But he carried himself very well. Of course, he was a very highly educated man. I believe he was an Ivy League graduate, and also he had a professional career. So I think you can address the issue without some of the fights displayed at Popeyes, that kind of thing. I'm
But
not me
okay, but
personally. If something like that happened to me,
okay, but okay, I understand what you're saying. And the gentleman in Central Park, he absolutely carried himself, in a very dignified manner, especially when she kept saying that he was the one who was threatening her, and she kept walking up to him, So those are the ones that always
Exactly.
just kind of make me laugh. But you look at like the incidents in 7-Eleven, and you look at the woman who the whole HOA thing, when again I bring up the word nigger, and people are like in your face. Or even when you're at the Steelers game and you have that white woman slap that black man, and he was about to go after her until her husband jumped in, and then he ended up beating up her husband. So
Well,
I mean, so at what point it's like, or the Karen that was in Victoria's um Secret. No, the woman should not have, and the woman didn't hit her or anything. But how long are we supposed to put up with this, with this crap? How long are we supposed to deal with this crap and take the high road? And to me, will that beat down finally make them think twice before they open their mouth? Because sometimes you're actually getting people killed.
well, if anybody put their hands on me, I'm defending myself point blank. You put your hands on me, I'm defending myself. You come up in my face like you're gonna hit me, I'm defending myself. There was a black man. I don't know if you saw this video. It was in Walmart, and it was a racist white guy that walked up to him and uh, did like a MMA kick fight in front of him, or
I
threatened
I,
like.
I saw that. Yes.
And the black guy kind of just like shrugged it off and walked away. He didn't want any confrontation. But if he had kicked his feet toward my face, I would have been, because that's aggressive behavior, and you are threatening my person. So it's going down. However I can defend myself, it's going down.
So my next question to everyone is, why do you think that we're getting more and more Karens? Again, they've been around forever. We've had our Miss Anns, we've had our Beckys. They've been around forever, since the antebellum days and before. Why do you think that we're getting more and more people who feel that they can just come up to you and say anything they want? Or like you said, do the karate kick or whatever, just to start a fight or whatever? Why do you think they are doing this? And for the most part, I truly believe that they think, number one, they're going to get away with it, and number two, no one's going to fight back. So why do you think they keep doing it? Because to me, as of 2016, they just got like a hall pass that they can do whatever the hell they want.
I think that very reason, because since 2016, I think that they actually feel in their minds, hey, wait a minute, I am white. Let me exercise my supremacy over these people. Let me show them that they don't really belong in this country. That's what my thinking is. And I think that because a certain person became president, they feel anything is possible and that they can get away with anything. I mean, think about it. The incident that happened at the Capitol. I mean, no one stopped them. So
No.
of course they feel emboldened and feel empowered. No one stopped them. No one stopped them at all. And that tells you right there, they're thinking like, I can do whatever I want. We're gonna storm this Capitol, and we're gonna take charge. And that's what they did. And they got word. Oh yeah, you're good. We're gonna make sure the doors are open. Yeah, you got full access. You got full reign. Yeah, you do. And it's that kind of thinking and
It's
believing
thinking
that
and
is
believing that
empowering
is
people
empowering people
to do what they
to
want
do
to do
what they
to
want to
lesser or groups that
do,
they
or
feel that are
groups that
inferior
are
to
fit.
them.
And that's where and that's where again I come back to having the issue that I have. you know at what point and what will it take for them to stop? Feisty one, did you want to say something? You're on my you popped up. Did you want to say something? Oh,
I think that I'm going to add that I think that they were given license to do it. And so now these are things that they've been thinking all along. It was just hidden. And so it gave them license to pull the covers back and say, okay, this is who I am and this is how I behave. And really, it's supported. If you look at the treatment of people of color compared to Caucasian people, it is very different. People of color, just by the virtue of the color of your skin, you're viewed as aggressive, or the aggressor, whether you are or you aren't, is irrelevant. That's how you're viewed. How they treat. Classic example is you look at somebody who shoots up a crowd of people. If they're black, they're not making it out of that alive. They're going to be killed. If they're white, they're given a bottle of water in handcuffs and they're politely escorted. So it is just how they are intimidated by black people. I don't know why, but they are incredibly intimidated by people of color. Let me just say that. And they create a narrative where people of color are viewed as the aggressors, and it's just not so. And you're watching it. Thank God for cameras and video recordings now, because otherwise it is highlighting just how they're trying to use this to create a narrative. And enough already. I'm like you. Somebody come up in my face. I am in general a peaceful person, but there's a time that you just can't allow people to trample over you. And they have been given license to do that by the former person in charge of this country.
And and again, I ask the question, what is it going to take for these people to stop? Because I do know that I truly believe that the people who stormed the Capitol are the ones that are just itching for a race war. I really, really do. But you still have those people who feel that they're entitled, the Kens and Karens. What is it going to take for them as an individual to stop? What is it going to take? I mean, if you look at the woman who was at the Steelers game, she's arguing with this black guy. He's in the row in front of her. She's in the row behind him, so she's kind of up a little bit, just because of the way the stands are. And they're arguing, and then she hauls off and just slaps him. And I'm seeing more and more of these tapes where these women are again, women are slapping and men are spitting. And what is it going to take for them to think twice? Because once again, I'm going to quote Roland Martin, one day you're going to roll up on the wrong sister or bruh, and it's going to be over. And yes, her husband did pay for her bad behavior, but at the same time, why wasn't he telling her to sit down and stop? And when she slapped him, he still didn't do anything. The only time he got involved was when the black guy started going after her. So what is it going to take? What is it going to take for you to, if you have people come into a community pool and you're there saying, well, where's your pastor? You don't belong here, or you can't, get into this pool. Really? I mean, if you look at the history, and I'm going off topic here. If you look at the history of swimming pools in America, a lot of the public pools closed down mainly because white people did not want black people in their pools. So instead of integrating, they just shut them down. And the ones that were in the black neighborhoods, a lot of the funding was purposely stopped. So those pools couldn't stay open because you have to keep them clean and things like that, and the funding was gone. So what do you do with these people? I mean, you're walking down the street minding your own business, or you're in a store and maybe the person in front of you is checking out and they're speaking Spanish with the clerk. Why do you have a need to say something? Just wait until they finish their transaction and then it's your turn. Why do people have a need to say something and then they take it to the next level? They're the ones that start hollering, screaming, and what have you. What is it going to take to make these people stop? That's my question. Does anyone want to take that one?
I'll say this real quickly, and then someone else can jump in. I believe that what it's going to take, just like they did with this Asian bill, I think what needs to happen is if you address someone like these scenes that have been happening in Walmart, someone needs to report them. The baseball game, if you address someone like that, there needs to be some kind of bill to say this is a hate crime, and this needs to, if you're in a threatening a person, there needs to be a stop. There has to be something, a bill or something that says this is wrong. You're going to jail. You'll be fined if you pull this behavior. If you call the 911 on a kid that's selling water in front of her apartment, whatever, and you call the police and you do something like that, there should be something that says you'll be fined or jailed or both if you do this. If that's because it's harassment. That's my opinion.
And you have a point. Now I do believe it's in New York, and I do believe California just passed one, the Karen Act, but it needs to be a federal. It can't be state by state by state. It has to be federal. We need these federal laws. So my next question is this: do you believe that I'm going to use the man at the Steelers game as an example. He gets slapped. He goes after the woman. The husband jumps in. The husband ends up getting his behind beat. Do you think that if the police had been called, they were not. However, there were other people in the stands, mainly white, telling the black man that you should just go. You should just go. And then you have other people go, no, she's the one that started. She's the one that hit him. Well, why does he have to go? Do you think that these people should be able to come back and sue that, or these people, if the police do come, that they're justified in standing up for themselves, that I don't want to hear the police say, well, you should have turned the other cheek. Why? So she can slap me again? So does anyone else want to give another reason for, or another way that this can stop? What will stop them? Okay, so way back when I was working at a particular communications company, when I first started the company, I was in customer service, and you had people call in, and they were doing ridiculous things. But I ran across a story where you had someone who was delivering appliances for Best Buy, and a woman called to complain that her fridge was not pre-cooled before it was delivered, and she had to wait for it to come down to temperature. And this woman screaming and hollering, whatever. It's like, do these people, I'm considering her a Karen, but I'm also talking about these Karens who are out there slapping and calling the police and what have you. Do you think that these people actually look for reasons to go after people, or do you think that that's just how they are? Like they were the kid in elementary school that that always told the teacher, and then in high school they were the one, that one person that you just couldn't stand, and then in college they had issues or whatever. Why do you think these people are like that? I do believe that empowerment. Okay, that's what OJ says, and I agree. But I do believe that the former guy, at least in America, actually across the entire globe, gave people the green light to do things. But why do you think? I mean, do you think these people were always like this, or they just say, "Hey, they just became like this," or I mean, what do you think? Anybody? Anybody? Okay. So my next question is, I'm sure everyone heard about the. I think the government has the major say in this sort of situations. Yeah, yeah, they were always like that. Okay. All right, because I know, and I'm going back to this particular telecommunications company that I used to work for. There were a lot of Karens. There were a lot of Karens and Kens in that company. And when I think back at it, think about it now. You know, um, I just shake my head because I can literally name these people by name to this day. This person was like this person, this person was a Karen, this person was a Karen. And to me, it has to be exhausting to be like that. And Juju says it's about what they've been able to get away with for centuries. And you know what? And that's true. What have they been able to get away with? So again, going on what Shy Lady says, you know, you can have your laws and everything, but if someone does something and then they're, charged with this crime, it's going to take time to go through the legal system and what have you. And that's why I say, will this beat down? Will this beat down that this person just got yesterday for doing something, is that going to just put a cease and desist on them for them to do it to someone else? Because you can fine me $200, you can fine me, $5,000, whatever, but I can still do it again unless you put me in jail or something. So, what is going to make them just stop right now? And that's why I want to know if that beatdown is going to make that particular person who has been doing this forever and was getting away with it, that this time they rolled up against the wrong person and they are going to stop.
Well, in my opinion, as a whole, it's not going to make them stop because you're talking about the majority of a group of people who actually, in their mind, feel that they are superior to Black people. They actually believe that we are inferior. They did, after all, write the Declaration of Independence saying that we were three-fifths human. So I don't care if someone gets the beat down, um, if some random act, somebody get the beat down. It's not going to change what the majority of a certain group think about who they are and where Black people stand. Because just like when President Obama was running for office, you know, this man was way, qualified more than the other person, but yet, um, well, he never ran against the former person, but he was very qualified to run. Yet you had the whole birth situation. Not, he wants to say he wasn't born in America. Any little thing to discredit this man, because you can't attack his record, you can't
Mhm.
attack his intelligence, you can't attack his intellect, but you use something else to try to attack. And he wasn't the type of man who was known to have affairs. So you have nothing else to attack but his where he was born. And there are certain people, no matter what, believe that they are better and they are entitled to certain things because they just believe that Black people are inferior to them. They just believe that. Um, there was a situation where I saw something, and this man called another person, a Black person, I think it was a Uber ride or something. And he said, "Well, you're just a nigger." And I think he was a professor or something at a university.
I saw that. Yeah.
And it's like, here's a person that's a professor, and just because you didn't like whatever the Uber guy told you to sit in the back, in order to make him feel bad in your eyes, to insult him to his core, you think by calling him the N word is the most hurtful thing you could say to him without physically putting your hands on them. That's how he believes. That's what he believes. He believes that that's like the most disgusting thing you could be in this world is a nigger, to that professor who said that to that Uber driver. You're just a nigger. And that's, to me, the way he said it, and the venom in his voice, it was like, it was the most disgusting, vile, foul thing that you could be in this world if you're a human. And it's because of that kind of thinking that it'll never change for most of the people that are white. It will never change.
And I agree with that, and I also say that it also applies. It will never change for those people who who consider themselves woke. They're woke on certain times, and other times, they're these entitled people who do go home and use the word nigger. Whatever. But I don't know. I just wonder. You know. When you look at these people who are like this, and they go home at night, and they have children, and their children grow up to be just like them. I just think that it's sad. I think that it's sad, and being a person of color who has been on the receiving end many, 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 many times of racist comments, of other, racist things that have happened to me, in my lifetime. Some of them I'm not, even going to go into. But you know, they should be ashamed of themselves, but I know that they're not. And I know that they have a sense of empowerment. Like Juju says, and like OJ says, they have a sense of empowerment and entitlement. You know, again, I'm going to refer to a telecommunications company that I work for, and that place, I had already experienced racism a lot before I started working there, but that place taught me about racism on a corporate level. And even though I don't look at fond memories there, but it taught me a lot about racism in corporate America and how white people are, and that may sound racist to some people, but constantly being on the receiving end of something, or not getting promoted, just because I don't know. But on the other hand, at this telecommunications company, I can't complain in the sense that I was promoted. I moved from department to department to department, whatever. But the way I had to get there, and the things I had to go through just to get those promotions, as opposed to my white counterparts. But these Karens of the world, I just think that one day they're all just going to seriously run up against the wrong person, and it's going to be a catastrophic mess, because we're not taking it anymore. Especially the young people. They're fighting back. They're not the young people of Martin Luther King days anymore. They are like, you all can turn the other cheek and what have you, and say peace and kneel and all this other stuff. They're not willing to do that, and they are fighting back. So, does anybody want to comment on that?
I want to add, I don't know that they even know why they do what they do. I'll give you an example. You talked about a place you used to work at. In the past, there was a place that I worked at, and there would be a fair number of elderly people that would come into the establishment. And and so over over a course of time at me working in this place, there at what time it was primarily Caucasian, and then you saw probably half and half, right? Half people of color, half Caucasians. And there was a little old white lady, sweet as pie, or at least that's what I thought, right? Because I have a affinity for elderly people. So, she had hooked in my arm, and I was helping her find a seat. And she turned and said to me, and she turned and said to me, "Oh my God, there's so many coloreds in here." And in that instant, it's just like I the comment was rude. It was, and I'm like, okay, are you looking at me? I'm a person of color. And either you're clueless or I don't even know what to make of that. But part of me feels like the message in that, yeah, she's older and, some of it's generational, right? Like they were raised a certain way. But part of me says, like, there is this hatred, and I don't even believe they understand where it stems from. It's just a hatred. And until we can figure that piece out, I just don't know what's going to happen. And to your point, the result may be something catastrophic. The Karen will run up against the wrong person who is just fed up and won't take that crap. So, I don't know. I think, part of having conversations like this, the important piece is trying to figure out ways to make a difference or ways to change. And it starts with having conversations about it and trying to figure out how we can make a difference, how things can change for the better. And so thanks for hosting this, because I think it's important. That's it. That's all I want to say.
So Feisty one. Okay, I'm going to ask you a question though. So you said that you don't think that they even know where it comes from. I think they absolutely know where it comes from. I think they absolutely know that for them it comes from a place of entitlement, and this is who we were, who we are. We were born, superior. You were not. You stay in your place, and not just African Americans. I'm talking about Latinos. You stay in your place. Asians, you stay in your place. Native Americans, you stay in your place. I think they absolutely do know where it's coming from, and that's why I say until, and I'm only mainly talking about one race of people, until white people say, until they admit that racism exists, not just in America, but across the globe, until they admit that it exists, we're not going to get anywhere, because we're still going to run up against the people who don't, we can talk about Thomas Jefferson in school, but let's not talk about what he did to a 14-year-old girl and raped her and had, 7, 8, 9 children with her. We can talk about the Declaration of Independence, but let's not talk about the fact that while you're so busy saying all men are created equal, these same men had slaves. And like Shy Lady said, we're 3/5 human. So until they admit it, they know where it comes from. It comes from, in my opinion, a sense of entitlement and a sense of hatred towards a group of people, and I am including even the woke ones, or the ones who think they're woke, because I have learned from friends that I've had, when it comes to really showing who you are, and if you're really going to stand up for what you've been talking about, they turn around, they run back to their homes, and they don't call me, because they're embarrassed, and because they know that they, either cannot stand up to these people because they don't have the balls to, or they don't want to. And Juju says, gone are the days when white people can publicly abuse black people. I mean, I think that goes with anybody. Gone are the days where anybody can abuse anyone. Thank you, OJ, for liking the show, and thank you, Juju. So I don't know. I don't know. So Feisty One, I am going to ask you, do you really not think that they know where it comes from? Or do you think they know where it comes from? But we absolutely do need to have the conversation.
Um, I don't think in all instances they know where it comes from, because I don't believe that. I believe that some are taught to hate, but they don't know why they're taught to hate. It's just, you're taught. So I'm not sure. I don't know that I believe they all understand where it comes from. I'm not sure I get that. Or that I necessarily agree with that.
Oh, okay. So if you are raised in a household where you're told, you know, um, black people are less than, and Latinos, they're just lazy, and whatever. I mean, they just talk about every race, and that's all you hear growing up. But you never hear why. I know, because you're raised in a particular, type of home or whatever, you may end up being and agreeing with what you're hearing, what you grew up with. So do you think at some point someone's going to ask the question, well, why should I hate this person? What did they do? And the only thing that you can really say is they have a different color skin. Because you can't even say that all black or Latinos are criminals. When you look at the biggest crime that has been committed against this country, has been by white people. When President Obama was elected president, and you had people saying, "Oh my God, now a black person is going to be running the country. The country's going to go to hell." But who's been running this country for years, for decades, for centuries? Look at the position that we're in. Look who's been running this world for centuries. What group of people, were responsible for the Holocaust? It wasn't people of color. Not saying that people of color don't have their wars. Yes, you go to Africa, and Africans had slaves, and you have wars between those guys, of course. But when you look at the world as a whole, when you look at pollution and factories and what have you, who's the major owners of these places who are uh who are creating all of this, you know uh all this pollution? Who is it? Hello, crazy lady. So you have to look at this, and I just ask, I don't know. Men, okay, but when we look at race, what race of men? I don't know. So again, I come back to, like Feisty Lady says, we have to have the conversations. Are people willing to have honest conversations on why Karens of the world and Kens of the world are doing what they're doing? Why people feel that they're entitled? Why people think that they're better than other people? Can we have an honest conversation on why this is happening and how people really feel? Then maybe we can stop it. Does anybody want to agree with me? Anybody want to disagree with me? Am I wrong? Do people, okay, Shy Lady says she agrees. All right. And Crazy Lady says agree. And Feisty Lady says that she agrees. Okay. I don't always want to, sound like that I'm just, running on at the mouth, even though I do tend to do that. But I appreciate the input that you guys have given for this show. And, I and this may sound crazy to some people, but I would like to have someone, that's a one percenter or a proud boy or someone on this show. I would really, just like to know, why you feel the way that you do. Why do you feel that, you know, that you're superior to other people? And I can say, and I say that, and I'm gonna bring it back around to even black people, because we do have black people who are Karens and Kens, who think that they're entitled, or who have, caused scenes, and what have you, and just why. And I'm just one of those people. I just want to know why. I mean, if Adolf Hitler were alive today, you know, um, people would be interviewing him, and I would want to interview him too. Just why? Why? And I don't think people really have, when you hate like this, or you feel that you're entitled, on at this level. I don't think people really have a valid reason to why. You can't say, oh, because I hate black people, oh, because I hate white people, oh, I hate Latinos, whatever. That's not a valid reason. I mean, why do you hate these people? Why do you think you're superior to these people? Why do you think you're better than? That's all I want to know, is just why.
I think that some of them will probably tell you that this is what their parents told them. They'll probably tell you, well, look at all the black people. All they do is commit crimes, and look where they live. All they do is live in rundown places. They're inferior to us. Just look at them. I think that it's what they're told and how they're brought up.
You have a very good point, but as you know, that's not true. And again, I go back to saying, being an African American, and I'm not putting anyone who does not have a college education, I'm not putting them down at all, because I don't think that a college education, necessarily means that you're the smartest person in the room, because that's not necessarily true. But everyone that I grew up with growing up as an African American was a two-parent home. I didn't know of anyone who was a one-parent home as an African American until I got to college. And that was when a parent passed away. And the people that I, grew up with, even now, they're, doctors, lawyers, judges, they're anchors on TV, and even when I was working, and I keep referring to this one telecommunications company, most of the majority of the African Americans there had college degrees. So we are educated with college degrees, and some of us don't. But but that doesn't make you stupid. It doesn't make you a criminal. So again, I don't know. I I don't know. I just think, what Feisty one said was very important. You need to have the conversation. If we can just have the conversation, then I think we would be headed in the right direction. Just have the conversation. So, on that note, does anyone else have anything else they want to say? Because I have really run over today.
I just thought about, because you and I both work for that same company. I just want to add my little 2 cents. I have a college degree, and both my white supervisors were not college educated. That as a matter of fact, it was three. I had three supervisors that were white that were not college educated, never stepped foot in a college, straight out of high school, and had been working there. Two of them had been working there since they had got out of high school. The other one came from another company, and she didn't have a college degree either.
And I'm not surprised, because at this particular company, that was the norm, and yet they were the directors, the managers, the supervisors, and every time they needed help with something, they came to one of us. So I don't know. But on that note, guys, thank you for listening. This has been a really good conversation. I appreciate everyone's input. I'm always willing to listen to people, and I know I go on and on and on, and that's one reason why we went over. But thank you so much. Tomorrow we are going to talk about over 65, dating over 65, and you have a lot of people who don't want to get married. They just want to, okay, we'll spend a little time together, but you got to go home tonight. So we'll be talking about that tomorrow. So again, thank you so much for showing up. I'm Solid Blue Sister. This is my turn to talk. Always speak your truth, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Thank you, OJ. I appreciated your input today. OJ, Juju, Shy Lady, PBG. I'm not sure who you are, but thank you for showing up. Feisty One. Crucible Man was here earlier today. Gary was here. Crazy Lady. Thank you, everyone. Good day to you, Juju. Good day, my silent friend. You know I love you. I would like to know what you have to say tomorrow, but I'm not going to put you on the spot. Don't worry. And OJ, thank you. I doubt it. OJ, thank you for giving us more insight into India. I actually was not aware of some of that going on. Juju, I'm still gonna be optimistic about you for tomorrow. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time. Bye.